Sweetheart, do you think you'd like to go to New York with me for my birthday? It's my 48th. Exclusive one-on-one time with my mom, highly unusual. Most of my life is spent watching my mom leave or be distracted, working really hard. There were 5 of us, so I get it. It wasn't unusual to be in the car with Mom. Mom, what do you think the meaning of life is? I'm now whistling for you. Did you say something to me, sweetheart? No, forget it. Or, on occasion, I'd be invited to join her on an errand. Sweetheart, do you want to go to the grocery store with me? Yes! I do want to go to the grocery store with you, yes! And I'd go to the stairwell, which was painted with my siblings' handprints. Jim, James, Ben, Abby, Amy. And there was my mom backing out of the driveway. She forgot she'd asked me. So it was a big deal to be invited to go to New York with my mom. The last time my mom left, in 2013, it was after a 10-month battle with cancer. When they found it, well, her body was basically riddled with cancer. And I think she thought she was going to be a survivor. My sister Abby is a survivor. She had had her own bout with cancer 12 years earlier. And Abby did all the things. She did the chemo, she did the naturopathic remedies, she lost her hair, she shaved her head after. We all shaved our head. We all did the things with her. We walked in cancer walks with her, and we watched her at the end, after her battle, cross the finish line of a marathon, the first of many marathons. And so my mom, I think, thought, I'm going to be a survivor. And so my mom, well, let's just say Grandma Sarah died for her wine and coffee. So doing the things that my sister did, well, it was hard to watch. But she did it. She did the chemo. She did the naturopathic remedies. She quit the coffee. No, there was always 1 cup in the morning. And she had her 1 glass of wine at night. That's all she was afforded. A few days before she died, she had a chocolate milkshake, and she said to my sister Jana, I think I'm ready. Why don't you call the hospice? And they came a couple days later, and Jana gathered the troops. Abby and I went up, and we all spent time with my mom in Bellingham and her husband John. The morning that she left us, we had done vigil all night. A couple days before, they'd put a bed in her room, and a hospital bed, and they put a table over it. And my mom, who had lost her voice 4 months earlier, saw the table, and she thought, oh, can I do work on this? So the first day that we're in New York, we go to see Les Miserables. And we had been listening to the soundtrack for months. I was 18 years old, my mother was 48. And we sat down in the theater, and we're so excited, and the lights go down, and the orchestra begins, and the curtains open, and nothing had prepared us for the sheer beauty of the music in that play, and we cried buckets of tears together. And we had gotten a hot tip for later that night on a restaurant in Greenwich Village called Monty's. We went to Monty's and we were like, okay, we're hitting the Village. We're going to we got the inside scoop, and it was behind. It was sort of like in the basement of a brownstone, the Village. So there's like the stairwell up, and there's the stairs behind, and go down a few steps, and you get there, and there's a host, and the host, ladies, and he hugged us. He practically picked me up off the ground and kissed us. Mom and I were like, okay. And they escorted us to a table, and we sat down, and they asked us what we wanted. Mom said, well, let's get a bottle of wine, sweetheart. Because that's how the Jacobsons rolled. We all drank with our parents from about 14 on, and so we drank copious amounts of alcohol. I don't remember what we ate. At the end of the meal, my mom looks across the table and she says, sweetheart, how are we going to get home? And I say, I got this. So I get up and I go over to the host and I say, can you tell me where to catch a cab? Not really from here. And he directs us to 3rd Avenue. We walk over to 3rd Avenue. I get there with my mom at my side and I jump into traffic. But a cab stops. And we hop in. The rest of the night is distant memory. So there was not a lot of supervision when I was little. And I was the youngest of 5, and my siblings were always off doing their thing. And so I had a lot of time to myself. One winter, my mom sewed these curtains laboriously for the living room, and a couple weeks later, my parents had a cocktail party. And the curtains were hanging, and the house was warmed by the radiator along the front of the house, the front windows. We were in Connecticut. And there was a board above it, and there were candles lit, tall candles, 3 of them. And there were these long matches. I was about 4. I had long hair down to my rear. I pasted out of my face with food. Candles. Nobody's in the living room. It's a cocktail party. Everybody's in the kitchen. There's nuts on the table. Everybody's in the kitchen. I'm by myself. Candles. Matches. So I get the long box of matches, and I pull one out, and I hold on to it. I'm kind of choked up on it. I look at the candles, and I blow the 3rd one out. And I take the candle, the match, I light it. And the candle lights. And I kind of sit there and I watch it. And then I take the still lit match and I take it to the middle candle and add to the flame. And it goes. And as I'm sitting there watching it, flames start crawling up the curtains. Hear footsteps. Aunt Nancy from down the street comes in with her scotch and water. Red hair like Shirley MacLaine's. Smoker for life. She's still alive. And she sees the wall of flames. And I step back. And then suddenly, it's just a rush. Everybody runs out of the house, and we're standing outside, and we're watching windows, flames bursting, and we're waiting for the firefighters to appear. Somebody's like, where's John Guy, Aunt Nancy's baby? He's been left upstairs. Somebody runs back in upstairs, gets John Guy. We're standing there, and then somebody says, where's Mom? And we're all like, I don't know, where's Mom? And I feel her presence out of the corner of my eye. She comes out of the house like Cruella de Vil, it's a hard one. And she's got a fur coat on, it's down to her ankles, wrapped in it. And she goes marching towards the wagon. She gets in. mom always wanted to be an opera singer, she told me once. She ended up being an academic, and she says, I'm leaving. She slams the door. She disappears. That evening, we get a phone call. You're in Vermont. Okay. We see her a couple days later. On the second day that we're in New York, we go to the Museum of Modern Art. And I've never been a big fan of art. My mom was obsessed with art, fan for life. And there was the Lichtenstein and the George O'Keeffe and the Edward Hopper, and there was this one painting of a sunset with a train thing in the distance, and it made such an impression on me. Seeing art through her eyes was, well, it was a new experience for me. And so I bought that poster, and I carried it with me for a long time. My wife, now of 25 years, remembers it from our first years together. When I was 10, I was a swimmer. And there was a concert, there was a swim meet at West Point. And I qualified for the All-Stars. It was a big deal. I come from a family of swimmers. And so I was kind of pulling up the rear. And it was a big deal to make it to the All-Stars for New England. But it required me getting there. And so my mom, very busy, very distracted, says she'll take me. So we get in the car. Wind feels so good. We've come to a dead stop. And my mom shakes her head and starts sighing really heavily. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, here it comes. Sweetheart, I am too busy. Do you mind, sweetie? There's just no way we're even going to make it on time. I don't think we're going to make it. No, that's all right, Mom. That was the end of my swimming career. The last morning, we had done an all-night shift with my mom. John was there. That was her second husband, and my sister Janet. Abby had bounced. It was pretty intense. My brother Ben wasn't there. James was on his way. And at about 7:30 in the morning, I got a text. I was in the other room sleeping, trying to sleep. John's taking a shower. I think she's close. Can you come? Yeah. So I went into the room, and I took my place next to her bed, where I kept vigil, and I held her hand between my two hands, and I just watched it and listened to her. When she took one last breath and didn't breathe again, my sister Jana got up, opened the window to let her soul out. And it was in that moment, in retrospect, that I realized, after living a life of watching my mom leave, that I was the perfect candidate for that moment.